Welcome back. We are tracking that big story. The UN tribunal saying that all court proceedings in the Italian Marines case have to be suspended and that Italy and India have to submit a report by September 24th. This hearing was just underway and the court order is out. Let's go across to Nupur Tiwari, who's tracking this case for us. Nupur, just take us to the final points you've been able to gather from the order.
Kulsum, basically it seems to be like a 50-50 if one were to consider whether it's a victory for India or a victory for Italy. Well, actually, it's a bit halfway on both sides, because what Italy really wanted was that all criminal proceedings should be stopped. So that is something that the tribunal seems to have accepted. It has instructed both Italy and India to stop all criminal proceedings for the moment. But remember that this is not the final verdict. So it's not as if the court has decided that India does not have jurisdiction. No. What it has said is that for the moment, all court proceedings should be suspended and should refrain from initiating any new proceedings that could aggravate the dispute which has been submitted to the arbitral tribunal. So this arbitral tribunal, the jury of the arbitral tribunal is still actually being brought together. So, there are a number of judges who are already arbitrating, but this is going to be a longish procedure. Basically, it's a question of the interpretation of the law. So on both sides, both Italy and India have recognized that there is a problem of the interpretation of the law. So this is something which will be ongoing. And until such time, basically, the tribunal has said that both Italy and India should suspend court proceedings. Now remember that on the 24th of August, there was a Supreme Court hearing that was supposed to happen in this case. We do also know that one of the Italian Marines, Sergeant Latorre, is in Italy right now. He was given leave by the Supreme Court to go and get medical treatment over there. And the other Sergeant Girone is on bail. He is in India right now. Now, the second thing that Italy wanted was that this tribunal, this international tribunal, should instruct India to remove all restrictions on the movements of the Marines. Now, this is something on which the court has actually not made a comment. So one would assume that it has actually not entertained this request made by Italy, which requires India to remove all restrictions on the Marines. So this is something that the Indian side was very worried about, that if the court asked India to send the Marines back, it would again give rise to confusion, because it has already happened in the past that Italy has given an undertaking that the Marines will be present for the criminal proceedings in India, even giving an undertaking to the Supreme Court and then going back on it by saying that we are not sending the Marines back. So in a sense, actually, it's really a half-half. This is an ongoing process which is likely to take long. India has been insisting that it exercises jurisdiction over this case because two of its nationals were killed, whereas Italy maintains that its Marines enjoy sovereign immunity, which is something that India has been contesting. So this is going to be an ongoing sort of arbitration, but until such time, the criminal proceedings, at least for the time being, at least this tribunal wants, should be suspended. Kulsum?
Right. Nupur, is there anything unprecedented in this case that you're seeing? I understand in many cases it's just the law of the land that's followed, but in this case it's the law of the sea. So in that sense, do you see anything unprecedented? Because it's a case that's actually led to a diplomatic spat between Italy and India.
Well, Kulsum, there are a number of things actually. The main thing is that the International Convention talks about incidents, of maritime incidents. It does not actually talk about the killing of this nature, which seems to be really, at the heart of the problem. This is why the interpretation of the law seems to be difficult at this stage, because, the law of the sea tribunal basically, there is an Article 97 of the UN Law of the Sea Convention, which outlines that in case there is a collision or any other incident of navigation concerning a ship, then in that case, it is the flag state of that ship which will have jurisdiction. So to simplify that, basically, what this article of the UN law says is that if there is a collision or any other incident. Now, does any other, obviously there is no question of collision, but does any other incident include murder, because this is what India's claim is, that this should be looked at as a case of double murder where disproportionate force was used against unarmed fishermen by the Italian Marine.
Right, Nupur, thanks very much for joining us. Nupur Tiwari on that order that's come in. So basically, just to sum it up and go through some of the big points from the order that we've been able to gather, what it says that no court proceedings are pending international tribunal arbitration, and that no court proceedings in India for the or Italy, and then the Indian judicial process can't proceed against the Marines, and India and Italy ordered to suspend all legal proceedings, and India and Italy also need to submit a report on the to the International Tribunal by September 24th.